Hey there Ninja Turtle fans, this is Wesatron. Today we are taking a look at Playmate's brand new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Classic line. These are 6-inch scaled figures in the kind of a hybrid style between the original cartoon series, you can see here's all the guys down here, and the original action figure series. So I believe they're still all in their unique colors, yeah, just like the old show, or I'm sorry, just like the old action figures, but a little more styled in terms of like anatomy and things like the old show. So that's pretty cool. See, inspired by the original animated series from '88. See, let me just capture this for a second if anybody would like to read that. 34 points of articulation, you know, classic looking packaging, kind of how they looked a little bit like the old, back in the old days. As Newt pointed out on the on Infinite Hollywood, there's a kind of a sewer look to the top here, some ooze on the side of the bubble, very cool stuff. He doesn't look like he's got any kind of issues in package with rubber bands or anything. I do notice that this sword is a little warped in there, so that's a bit of a bummer, but we'll see how he looks when we get it out on package. So here's Leonardo out of packaging, and as you can see, he's quite articulated. Very impressive in that regard. The packaging really didn't affect anything too badly. I've got one sword that is a tiniest bit warped, but it's not awful. As you can see, swords are very simple stylistically. You know, just one little notch down there at the back, square, kind of ninja style Tsuba there. Just basic blue wrap down. You know, very simple, very much like the cartoon. These store very easily on his back, and they are a nice snug fit. These are just kind of a soft plastic or rubber, so they'll kind of conform to the shape of the sword. Either that or the sword will conform to their shape. This is removable, so it will, you know, pop off easily if you need it to. There's a hole that goes through the leather strap and into the shell itself. Let me move that out of the way. You can see the shell hole there. So you just have to make sure when you line it up with that, you get it all the way into the shell. Very simple. The belt is removable, just like the old figures, if you choose to do that. That's totally up to you. I don't really need to do it on mine. I don't know if it's removable on the actual shell part. I guess you can just remove it. I don't really know how that's done. But anyway, it is an option, I guess. So as far as the figure itself, very much looks like the old Leonardo action figure, as well as the old cartoon. You know, it got kind of those big silly proportions and whatnot, big feet, big hands, but the bright colors still, and not a whole lot of like color detailing, but you know, solid, looks good. There's some nice paint on the front shell. I don't know what you call this thing, but it's a nice flat color as opposed to the slightly glossier color of the plastic on the arms and everything. This is, you know, very nice. The blue pads all over the place are good. They kind of help to hide articulation, but in some cases they do hinder it just a little bit. Not too bad though. But yeah, looks wise, this guy is really nice. I really dig him. Some people have problems maybe with the peg holes here. As far as I'm concerned, it's an action figure, so I don't care. I'm going to pull back just a little bit, and we'll start talking about articulation here. Leonardo has a ball-jointed head, and it's a simple ball joint. It's just ball and socket, so you can pop it right off and see. Now, this is kind of the style of like the Stormtroopers from Hasbro's vintage Star Wars line, I think, where it's got a very large ball that's intended to give a lot of range of motion, and it's got a pretty good range, but they probably should have cut in on the neck a little bit further so that his head didn't bump when it goes side to side and up and down, but still not bad, pretty good. Swivel hinge shoulders go out all the way up to there, very nice. All the way around, of course. Swivel in the biceps. Double hinge elbows, and this is one of those places where the pads do get in the way a little bit, but I mean, considering you can still get almost a perfect bend there, I mean, that's not bad. Even with that blocking it, I mean, it's a really nicely designed joint. They brought the plastic in there, so it's not, you know, preventing the joint from working too much. Very nice. In the wrists, there's a swivel hinge, so it goes, you know, left, right, and also in and out. Very cool. Fingers are individually articulated, all 3 fingers. So first finger, second finger. There's also a little bit of a swivel action right here, just a tad. And then there's a swivel hinge on the thumb. So it can go in and out and all the way around, which is cool. I mean, you can get a lot of like neat, like, hey, you over there, come here. You know, that sort of thing going on. I don't know if you're dumb and play with your action figures like that. That's how I play with mine, because I'm weird. Ball jointed mid-torso. Some pretty decent range considering it's attached to the shell. Go forward about that far. You know, it doesn't go back very much, but it goes forward pretty decent amount, and then your side to side is going to be good too. You know, pretty good ball joint there. His hips are a little strange in that they're actually a ball and socket that where the ball comes down at an angle like this, so the leg can rotate around on it really easily. It's a neat design. It's just strange. I haven't seen it before. Typically the ball joint, you know, comes out from the side. You can go forward and back really easily, but because of this part of the shell, he can't really move his leg too far forward, so it kind of just designed to move out to the side anyway. Neat though. Swivel right here at the top of the calf, the thigh. I'm not good with my turtle anatomy, you know. Double hinges in the knees, again, not restricted like you would think it would be. He can actually still do crouch poses, which is pretty cool. He's got a hinge in the ankle, way far back. Pretty impressive forward as well as a swivel that goes around. Now, I was thinking that this might be on a ball joint looking down in there. I still can't tell for sure, but I know that I don't have side-to-side motion like I thought I would. I'm actually moving the joint there. So, and then he's got individual toes, which is very cool. This guy is pretty easy to pose. He's not hard to mess with or anything like that. You know, he moves very fluidly into all his positions, but his, you know, articulation isn't hindered by anything. He moves very naturally, and I dig that. Now, the one problem I've noticed with him so far is just that he's a little bit back heavy. So, oh, now he's going to hold up. See, you're making a fool of me, Leonardo. This is what always happens. Every time I take you out, you always act like a punk. But, yeah, the shell is a bit back heavy. As you can see how far it sticks off, and then his sword's on top of it. You know, it can make him, you know, a little back heavy, but it's not awful. If you try and stand him straight up, it gets more complicated, but it's still pretty good. The ability to swivel the feet in and out the way you can helps quite a bit with his balancing, because you can turn them in more if you need him, out more if you need him to lean a little more forward. But yeah, very cool. I'm really digging the design of this guy. The articulation is fantastic. The style is just beautiful. I mean, this is literally what I grew up with, but, you know, an inch or so taller with amazing articulation. I mean, he can actually, you know, reach back to the point of actually grabbing his sword. Like, how crazy is that? There has been some question about whether or not they could grab their weapons appropriately. I think Newt even brought it up in his review on Michelangelo, and I haven't had any problems on this side. He grabs the sword pretty securely. This side doesn't feel loose. It just doesn't feel like I'm getting quite the same. Maybe the mold is a little different because it's the left hand. Well, it's holding pretty good now. Maybe it was just a bad moment. They hold pretty well. I'm surprised. You know, as long as you don't shake your figures vigorously, and apparently even if you do, they'll hold on pretty well. So, I mean, you can see it takes a little force to pull them out. So, pretty well done. I really like this guy. I dig him a lot. Leonardo's my favorite turtle. So, why don't we compare him with the standard that he's up against? This standard, of course, being NECA's comic book series, Ninja Turtles. This is Leonardo from that line. And surprisingly, he holds up very nicely against it. You know, the cost is a bit more, but that's due to inflation. I mean, these guys were, I think, $10 when they came out, but that was several years ago. It was maybe 5-6 years ago now. There's two things that I like better on this figure than this one, and that's one, they used hard plastic on the sheaths, which while it does make the swords fall out very easily, it actually keeps them straight, which I like a lot. And the only other thing this guy's got on this is the articulation in the neck, which he has a much longer neck, so they had, you know, a much better opportunity to mess with that. But, you know, in every other regard, this guy holds up great against him. I mean, they're two completely different styles, so, I mean, collecting one doesn't mean you have to neglect the other. But, you know, this guy here, I'm surprised, coming from Playmates, that they made such a strong, articulated figure. He's got more articulation, in fact, than this guy, in terms of the double elbows and the fingers. I think when Playmates designed this, they were really thinking about what would make, you know, fans pick this guy up over this guy. Why would you get this guy for $15 and feel like he was, you know, inferior to a figure that already existed? And I think they did a great job, you know, going against it. So yeah, pretty much identical in terms of articulation, except for the double elbows here. And the mid-torso joint is a little bit better on this guy than this guy. They discovered a better way to use it. So for $15, this guy is great, because right now the NECA figures are, what, something like $50 a piece or something. Something insane. But this guy, great buy. $15 to $20. I paid $20 on Amazon because I wanted to go ahead and get him in case. I don't know what Playmates distribution is like these days, so just in case, I went ahead and picked up my favorite. But yeah, absolutely worth it. Absolutely worth your $15. Easily stand up against your He-Man and Thundercats figures if you're, you know, into the classics lines. Yeah, solid all the way around. Highly recommended. Thanks very much for checking out my review. Make sure you go to infinitehollywood.com, as well as the Kickstarter link in the bottom for Hero Project. That's for cultural action or cultural mythology heroes action figures from Go-Go Dynamo. We only have so much. Sorry for that, had a battery issue. As I was saying about Go-Go Dynamo, they still got a long way to go on their goal, but it is completely reachable. Just go on there, see what you can do to help out. And one last thing, since I had forgotten to mention up to this point, he also comes with a display stand. As you can see, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Leonardo. You know, very simple manhole cover, nice design. It's incredibly too big to actually be a prop, but it still looks good. He'll pose on it. Let's see, you know, nicely. If you want to get some sidekick in action, theoretically that'll work. Very cool. Yeah. Anyway, this is Wesatron. Thanks again, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Cowabunga.